I think I kind of want to ask Kate a little bit about her journey. Some of us maybe require a couple different attempts at an undergraduate degree because life happens. We maybe have a little too much fun the first time around, or we're caring for an aging parent or having to work, whatever. As you are looking at that story and someone like Kate, I as an admissions professional, as someone who's genuinely interested in how you arrive at your decisions, can you talk a little bit about your journey to your undergraduate experience, and maybe as you were finishing that, if you were working in the field, and then kind of that decision-making process to say, as Michelle said, yeah, we have federal data that says you're going to get a salary premium with each additional credential beyond high school. But what are those other things as you're thinking about upskilling and the things that you need to succeed and become a leader in your either in your employer environment or just in the field in general?
Yeah, so I started my undergrad thinking I was going to go into early childhood education. Then I played around with special education and eventually just landed on developmental psychology. And I always knew I wanted to work one-on-one with kids. And so early childhood education wasn't really the best way to do that. I had experience in preschool classrooms and it was a little too much for me. But yeah, so I started working at Behavioral Dimensions my sophomore year, and it was just because I was looking for a job and my advisor sent out an email with that opening. So I applied. I had no idea what I was getting into, but I had a nephew with autism, and so I was interested in autism work. So I started there and worked there for a few years. And I knew I wanted to be able to keep moving up and also have more say in some of those decisions, help with program development, help troubleshoot when things weren't going so well, supervise other staff too. That was always really fun for me to be able to share my passion with my colleagues and teach them how to do what we were doing. But I saw some things that I thought could be changed or improved upon. And so I just thought of continuing school there and starting with a master's program because I didn't think I wanted to do a PhD program and I didn't like research in psychology at the time. Through this program, I found out that I really like research in ABA because it seems more applicable. It's single case design, which just fits better with what I like to do. But yeah, it was just wanting to be a bigger part in improving the practices that we were currently using.
Don't forget, the interviews go both ways, right? It's not just you saying, I want you to know me, so you take me, but you're also looking to see what programs are going to be a good fit for you, and it's data on both ends. If you're trying to get a meeting with the coordinator and they blow you off and they redirect you somewhere else, and here's our little maybe that's indicative of the type of supervision you're going to get when you get there. Mm-hmm. The other thing to be mindful about too is how the program is going to interact with you, right? What's your point of contact here? And they're going to be a little bit different. Some will use student liaisons, which is a really efficient and smart system, and put you in touch with students directly. So you might be bypassing the coordinator, but it's because they've built a system to help support potential applicants. Likewise, through COVID, we saw a lot of programs moving toward virtual open houses. And so as a program where maybe if you've got 200-300 applications, it's tough to meet with each student individually, but bringing everyone together in a kind of a restricted period is a smart way to do it. And so, watch for those opportunities as well. So just because, you're not getting the one-on-one doesn't mean you're being dismissed. Just be mindful that different programs will have different ways of doing things. And that's where you as the applicant need to make sure you've done your research to know how that program wants to handle that point of contact with applicants.
And when they come in with a list of questions, like, do you provide BCBA supervision? What kind of relationships do you have with the agencies in your community? What opportunities am I going to have to participate in research? And I feel like they're interviewing me for the opportunity to teach them. That tells me, going back to Ben's earlier point, they did their homework. They know what they want. They have very specific goals. They know what they're looking for in their education. And a student who can advocate for their own learning and their own process is going to be a student who succeeds in the classroom and in their work environment, because they have goals and they have a sense of how to achieve those goals. So yeah, you're interviewing us as much as we're interviewing you.
I want to touch on what Ben said. Reach out to the faculty, reach out to the graduate school, and ask for tours, whether they're virtual tours or Zoom meetings or phone calls. Ask to shadow a class if you're in an on-campus program and you're there touring. Or especially now with everybody being online right now, it's not anything to send somebody a Zoom link to shadow that class. In our own experiences with my spouse and I, searching for graduate schools, if the program said, no, we're not willing to have a conversation with you, or no, you can't come to one of the seminars, that was a red flag exactly for what Ben said. That's going to be how you're treated when you're there. And so I think having the opportunity to get a realistic preview of what that program offers, how the students interact with each other, speaking with students that are in the program, and experiencing a seminar or a course is probably the most valuable thing you can have in your search for graduate school. And it's probably one of the most valuable things that we can provide you as you're searching. We can tell you what we think you want to know and what we think you want to hear, and that it's great, the relationships are awesome, and the courses are great, and everybody's in a drum circle singing Kumbaya. But the reality is you will never understand that until the moment you set foot in that classroom on the first day. And if that's the first moment that you understand what that relationship is going to be like, it's too late.
You mentioned a really crucial alternative or addition to that, which is reach out to current students. And I would add, reach out to alumni. Look at where alumni of that program are working, or how many of them went on to doctoral programs, and what are they doing with their educations. We can tell you from a faculty perspective how hard you're going to work and what classes you're going to take and all of that. But to talk to somebody who's in the midst of it or has recently come out of it, and to get their perspective on the experience, and with current students to get a sense of who you're going to be sitting next to in class, I think that can give you a much more complete picture, in addition to or in lieu of talking to faculty.
That's all I was going to echo, is that students and alumni was who I was suggested to go try to talk and speak with. I had luckily about a 1.5 year lead time, so at some of the conferences and events in the field, I was able to kind of seek out and have past alumni or people that I knew help me kind of connect the dots and like get a coffee time or someone to sit down and just try to get as close as I could to an honest understanding of what's this program really like. Because there's a lot of stuff to put together, and like the honest perspective of the person that's going through the program was really valuable to me, and it really helped me choose at the end of the day too.
How would you guys recommend getting in touch with current students?
LinkedIn. Ask the faculty. The faculty probably have a portfolio of students that would be willing to speak with you. That's what we did. I mean, we went to these places and said, give me a list of students that I can talk to. And they did.
And it's harder to connect with a student simply because it's not their job. It is my job to speak with applicants. Kate, it's not your job to speak with applicants. But we do find that whenever a student wants to speak to another student, we've always been able to find 1 or 2 volunteers who've made time to speak with that student.
Conferences are also great. If there's a school you're interested in, see who's presenting a poster, see who's giving a talk. Even if you're not really that fascinated by the topic, that's a great time to go up, introduce yourself, find out what kind of work they're doing. And we're a small field. Networking is important. If you make a connection with a student and can get some information and then reconnect with them at a later conference or at an interview, those are connections that are going to help build those working relationships down the line. You never know who's going to end up in a position to advance your career, advance your education, or just steer you in a new direction.
Michelle, can you talk about some of the resources that particularly for somebody that's going straight from undergraduate, thinking about graduate school? You talk about conferences. Those are quite expensive, and for an undergraduate that may need to invest a couple $1,000s to attend the conference in person. What types of things do you recommend or have access to, or ideas that can help make that financially feasible?
Yeah, well, the first thing is a lot of universities, I would venture to say most universities, have travel grants and travel assistance for students who are presenting or representing their school at a conference. So if you have the opportunity to present a poster, present your honors work, or present alongside your faculty member at a conference, you can often get support to do that. Many conferences also have student grants to help bring students in there. Look for smaller conferences. Look for your state affiliated organization where instead of flying across the country and staying in a hotel for a week, you're driving downtown for a couple of days. And right now is a great opportunity to attend conferences at a very, very discounted cost because everything's online. Our flagship conference, the ABAI annual convention, is going to be virtual this year again, which really, really trims the cost enormously. So if there were ever a year to look at some of those bigger conferences, there is a silver lining to COVID, I guess. People can attend that might not normally.
Ben, I saw your comment. Was there anything that we really wanted to hit on that you didn't get to?
What do you do when you don't get in, right? So you've applied, everything got out, you got waitlisted, denied, whatever it is. It's not you, right? It's the year, it's the timing, it's the fit. Sometimes it's dumb luck. And I say this as someone who my first year of applying after my master's program, I didn't get in. I got rejected and I had to take time off. It's not the end of the road, right? You get back up, you try again if it is the path for you. What you do need to do is reach out to those programs and find out what you need to do to make sure you're in a better position the next year. This happens a lot. When I get an applicant 2 years in a row, in that second year, they say, I reached out to Dr. Witz and he outlined these elements. I've spent the last year working on those things. Oh man, does that speak volumes, right? It's no guarantee, okay? But it sure puts you in a really good position to say, I am serious about this type of work.